Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling a huge idea, a single framework that tries to connect the laws of the universe, the way our minds work, and even the future of AI. It's a massive journey, so let's just jump right in.
All right, let's start with a puzzle that really gets to the core of this whole thing. You know, when we see a shattered glass, we think chaos, right? Disorder. But what if, from the universe's point of view, that's actually a step towards a more stable, more likely state? What if it's more ordered? It's a wild thought, and it kind of flips our whole idea of order on its head. So, to get our heads around that paradox, we have to understand that reality is basically playing by two different rule books. One for the physics of the universe and a completely different one for us. Let's break those down.
Okay, so on one side, you've got absolute entropy. This is just pure physics. The universe is always trying to settle down into its lowest energy, most stable state. A broken glass is actually more stable than a whole one, so for the universe, that's a win. But then there's relativistic entropy. And this is our world. It's all about information, about meaning. To us, a shattered glass is chaos because the idea of the glass, the thing we can use, is gone.
And here is the crucial link. The world of physical action and our mental world of information, they aren't actually separate. They are just two different languages talking about the exact same thing. A physical event happens, and our minds create a concept for it. We use that concept to then interact with the physical world. It's this constant, incredible feedback loop. And that leads us to another gigantic law of physics, causality. You know, every effect has a cause, which had its own cause, and on it goes. But think about that. If that chain just stretches back forever into infinity, how did anything ever get started? It's impossible. The argument here is that there had to be a starting point, a first cause that wasn't caused by anything else, an initial decision that got the whole cosmic ball rolling. So if the universe runs on these deep, fundamental rules, how in the world do our little human minds even begin to make sense of any of it? Well, let's see how the framework builds this bridge from the cosmos right into our own consciousness.
To actually map out that internal world of ours, the framework introduces a whole field of study it calls noethology, which is basically the science of how we perceive reality.
So, noetology breaks down our consciousness into three key parts. First, there's the self, which is our emotional, intuitive core. It's our gut feeling. Then you have the mind, which is the logical part that deals with physical, tangible stuff. And finally, the body, the physical ship that carries the other two. Our entire experience is just the constant dance between these three.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. It maps our basic motivations not as just random feelings, but as functional tools. Pride isn't just an emotion. It's a social tool for individual survival. Curiosity and fear are mental tools. One pushes us to learn, the other tells us to back away from danger. Even things like greed and sacrifice are framed as a psychological switch, between grabbing a quick win now or holding out for a bigger payoff later. And all of that drives what's called the cycle of accumulated knowledge. Basically, the engine of human progress. It's a beautiful, simple loop. History happens, right? It accumulates. That forces our language to evolve to describe all the new stuff. Better language leads to better science. Better science creates totally new personal experiences, and those experiences are what push all of humanity forward. It's this incredible self-reinforcing cycle.
Okay, this is where the whole theory gets incredibly ambitious. It takes these rules about the universe and the mind and asks the big one. Can we actually use this as a blueprint to build better societies and political systems? And the answer, according to this framework, is a huge yes. It scales everything we've talked about up to the level of society, creating a detailed blueprint that covers governance, economics, and ethics. It's taking theory and making it practical.
At the heart of its politics is this idea called ethical pragmatism. You can think of it as the art of getting things done, but with a very strong conscience. It's all about making practical, real-world decisions that work while being absolutely locked into moral principles like justice and mercy. It's a way to avoid both power-hungry politics and wishful thinking. So this is what that state would look like, built on 7 pillars. You've got the ones you'd expect, right? Judiciary, government, army. But look at what's in there. Research and development is listed as a core pillar of the state. The idea is that constant learning and objective analysis isn't just a bonus. It's fundamental to keeping all the other pillars healthy. It's a system designed to be stable, but also smart and adaptive.
Now for economics. The framework takes a hard look at what it calls pragmatic capitalism, arguing it's a system where capital gets centralized to grab power, which naturally leads to scarcity and conflict. The proposed alternative? An abundance economy. Here, the goal isn't competition, it's cooperation. The whole point is to provide the basics for everyone, with the belief that this is what will truly unlock creativity and make society as a whole way more efficient.
And the guiding light for that economy is this one powerful, direct idea. Limited prosperity is injustice. It's simple. Any system that purposely holds people back, that limits well-being and opportunity for the many just to benefit a few, well, that's not just a bad system, it's fundamentally unjust.
So, we've gone on quite a journey, from the laws of physics all the way to how we should structure a society. But there is one final step, the very top of the pyramid, that launches all of these ideas straight into the future of technology. Because everything we have just discussed, all of it, builds up to this: a detailed and incredibly ambitious roadmap for creating a completely new kind of artificial intelligence. And we're not just talking about writing faster code here. This is about what's called digital philosophy. It's the idea of taking thousands of years of human creativity, our ethics, our knowledge, and literally baking it into the core of our AI. The goal is to create an intelligence that can act as a civilized interface for humanity, where objective truth is the common ground between us and the machine.
And here is that roadmap. It's like a multi-layered cake of intelligence. At the very bottom, you have OpenGI, an AI that's designed to understand those deep core principles of reality we talked about. On top of that is OpenDI, which uses that deep knowledge to make wise, ethical decisions about governance. Then you have the layers that interact with the world. OpenAI for social and business stuff, and OpenUI for connecting to robots and sensors. And tying it all together is OpenDC, the core. Think of it as the digital intuition, the gut feeling that guides the entire system.
Which leaves us with this final massive thought. This whole framework lays out a single, unbroken line from the laws of physics to how our minds are built to how our societies should work. So if this map is even close to being right, the ultimate test is this: can we actually build an AI that doesn't just follow these rules, but truly understands them? That's a question for all of us to think about.